SuperCoach is getting a significant upgrade in 2025. The way you've played the game is drastically changing coming into this new season. They've added a position. They've adjusted some things in the game that are going to make it really different this coming season than any other year. It's MJ from the Coaches Panel. I hope you're well. And there is a ton of stuff we have got to cover off on this episode. Some significant changes have hit the way you're going to play SuperCoach in 2025. Let's just flat out let you know what it is. Maybe you're just catching up on the details. It only got announced just a handful of hours ago now that this episode is dropping for you. But really, here's the big headline. A new position has been added to the game. In 2025, Flex has landed in to your SuperCoach side. A position that ultimately can be filled by any other eligible position. Defender, ruck, mid, forward, or any dual position combination can sit in this flex position, and it's not at the subtraction of another squad spot. Rather, it's an addition. So yes, 23 on-field players and starting squads of 31. That is the big change that has come our way. However, there's a few little caveats we've got to cover off on that. The flex position can be filled by any other position, but of the 23 on-field available players to score, only 22 of those will count year-round, meaning one of your poor scores will fall away. So whether you've missed a lockout, whether you failed to put that emergency in a particular position, you messed up a loophole, or you copped one of those dreaded early game injuries, well, that lower score will fall away. Much like how we've seen in the multi-bye rounds where it's been best 18, it really is a best 22 every single week when it is not a multi-bye round. So best 18s will sit through there of an available 23, while rest of the year, 22 of our scores will count of the on-field 23. The flex opens up a wild amount of strategy, and we do need to chat through some of these elements, but a quick misconception that's already floating out there: your flex does not have an emergency. This is significant because if your flex doesn't play, well, that's the score that's falling off. If they get injured, that's the one that's falling off. And there's no emergency if you miss that rolling lockout. So does that mean you're going to load the dice earlier in the round with those Thursday, Friday night, or early Saturday games with your flex and lock it away? That could be one of the strategies. All your other positions, you're able to loophole the way you like. You're able to have your emergencies the way you're accustomed to in SuperCoach. But flex, no emergency, lock it in, and that is it. This flex position opens up a raft of new strategies for us. One of the things it can do for us really early on is, with now 31 players in our starting squad, we've got an additional cash generation avenue. So now we can see these rookies really fatten up a lot faster and easier, and ultimately get some cash generation moving, get some of that upgraded cadence going even faster and earlier than we had seen over previous seasons. So I think that's a real positive element for us. The addition of the flex should see an increase in higher scoring ceiling. We've all had that one game, haven't we, where rookie roulette in that round went poorly for us. We get that early season injury or that early game injury, and it feels like it's doomed. Well, not so much anymore. So that luck variant has changed a little bit in the game. So I do expect to see some higher scoring ceiling in general. In addition, what does this flex do for us? Well, it opens up a bunch of new strategies during those early season buys. There are some players that maybe were already these days, before the format hasn't even landed yet officially, but that'll happen over the next couple of days, is maybe you're already like, Ashcroft, I want to get him on him. I think he's going to break out, but round 3 buy, just can't touch that. Well, all of a sudden that strategy's not too scared off, because in that round 3, only 18 are needed of an on-field 23. So really, you've injected another option to be on field in those early season buys. So now it does open up those round two guys of the Gold Coast and GWS. Does Tom Green all of a sudden come back into the fore? These are a bunch of the new different elements that come our way. The flex will see us make it easier to protect these poor scores and these zeros that can come our way. But can I just flat out tell you my first thought when I saw the flex land? And immediately I wanted to dub 2025 for SuperCoach ruck season. Not rabbit season, ruck season. And there's a reason for it, is SuperCoach has always favoured rucks. Just the way champion data and the way the game scores with hit-outs to advantage and the subsequent scoring that can come from that, rucks have always scored well for us. We now have an additional position should we choose to use it. We can use anyone, but rucks, for example, just using 2024 data for a second, 3 of the top 11 scorers last year were rucks. 4 of the top 20 averages were rucks. 8 of the top 35 averages last year were rucks. And so could you really commit to a big ruck strategy of Gawn, Marshall, Cherry? Yeah. Could you bring in a breakout candidate all of a sudden and still go set and forget by adding a Tom de Koning into that additional flex position? Or should we see an abundance of ruck rookies? I don't know. Maybe a new SSP rumoured signing at St Kilda, perhaps. All of a sudden, it opens this up. So flex gives us not just an avenue to pick extra rucks, but it really does up the value of dual position players in the game. And so players that either gain it during the season or start with it become really important movable pieces around. So this creates not just versatility in how you trade, but who you start. And it can have a significant way in how you choose to pick your starting squads, not just with going 3 rucks, but do you really commit to mid-price madness in a whole new way with additional positions, additional on-field option? It could be the way to play the game. We'll process it more over the preseason, but the introduction of the flex, whether you like it or not, it's ultimately a subjective position, and some that love an element of traditionalism are seeing SuperCoach evolve over a number of years and seeing the game they knew it to be 5-10 years ago being different, whereas others love innovation and love new dynamics in the game and love new challenges. So like any change, whether it be in SuperCoach or in life, there are going to be a bunch of people that love change and a bunch of people that are resistant to it. The good news is for all of us, we're in the same boat and we're all going to be learning as we go along. But the introduction of the flex is not the only change that has come our way. As a result of getting there is we're going to see a little bit of a change to the way our players are priced. Instead of just adding more cash into our salary cap, SuperCoach have decided to just hold at that $10 million mark. What that means for us is we're going to see a reduction in player pricing in where they start themselves at. So, for example, where a player would traditionally have entered the year as a $600,000 player, they're going to enter in at $580,000. So the way they've kind of given us the ability to have that extra cash is really just clip a little bit off everybody in the starting squad. So that's how they've got that. But that's not the only exciting thing that's come our way. Is we are going to see our basement price rookies under $100,000. It's been a long time since we've said that about SuperCoach. The 99K rookie club is going to be a thing in 2025. These are just some of the changes that are coming our way to SuperCoach, but it all hinges around one central big thing that's landed, which is the flex, and a cascading number of changes from salary cap to strategies. It is going to be a fascinating thing to unpack. Look, I'll be honest with you. My first thought when I saw it was, I would have loved them to call it utility. I know that's a bit petty, but it feels like a bit more of a term we use in Australian football rather than flex. It's a bit more common in fantasy sports, certainly in America, especially. So I don't love the term, but that's fine. That's a subjective opinion. Anything that increases activity in your fantasy football and your SuperCoach side, to me, is a good thing. But there are going to be people that hate it, and I can understand where, why, and how they dislike it. The good news is, like anything, is we have time to consider it, to make educated decisions around it, and come up with strategies where we can ultimately maximize it. Already, first thought for me, like I've already shared with you, this open up not just a world of rucks, but now changes some value of dual position players going up, a different approach to multi-position options, but also some mid-price players. It opens up a bunch of different things. And so whether you love it or loathe it, my encouragement to you, regardless of your first thought, is to go, if this is the game, how do I choose to maximize this for my own benefit and my own enjoyment? SuperCoach, it's going to have a big change for us in 2025. The good news is, for those of you that are gold subscribers, just keep a lookout on the app over the next handful of days. It should be opening up the platform for us, letting us see the prices, letting us have our first crack at filling our best 23 on field and our squad of 31. Gosh, that's going to take some getting used to, isn't it? So what do you think about the addition of the flex? And what's your first thought about strategies that it opens up, not only for you, but the way the community may choose to respond? Comment below and let me know. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. We've got plenty of content coming for you. SuperCoach and all other fantasy formats are covered here at the Coaches Panel. We do hope you're enjoying what you're getting from us already in this preseason, and we are only just getting started. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. There is going to be a ton of content you do not want to miss out, and we can't wait to be talking with you about SuperCoach yet again very, very soon.